This shit's funny. Oh my God. I'm reading the comments this morning and somebody comments, oh my God, Tatum didn't come on your show live and then he made this video at midnight. And he probably made the video before midnight, but I mean, and as I said on my live, maybe he was busy, but this is freaking hilarious. Look, you people, some of you people really like hate him and are mad at him. I think it's kind of funny. I don't understand his thought process, but I like the dude. He just seems like a funny, good dude, and he's speaking his mind. I think he's full of shit, but I just don't know why he doesn't know he's full of shit. He may think I'm full of shit. So obviously he does. Let's watch the start of this video because this shit I was just busting up. I watched about 5 minutes or so of this, and I was like, shit, let me do a video because I want to be laughing my ass off, and then I'll have to go rewatch it. All right, here we go.
Tribune, he made a conscious decision to leave his police radios where he first arrived at the school so he could run into this school without dropping them, so he could have both of his hands free in case he needed to use his pistol, as he thought would be a very likely outcome.
All I'm asking, just admit you were wrong. Just admit it.
That is so cocky and arrogant and just the type A personality that not only cops, even guys in the military, when we were, the SWAT team, the Rangers, the guys who go into the shit and that are they just get cocky because they know they're good and they're like, well, so him, I'm not saying that he was great and he was wonderful and I'm kissing his ass and all that, whatever. I already said I think he's wrong on this, but I don't have to hate him on it. He's just funny because he comes out and says, just admit because that's what cops would do to each other. We'd be like, dude, you were full of shit. You didn't know. Come on, man, admit it. You're a fucking dumbass. And when he said this, I was busting up. So he gets into this. Oh, shit. This is freaking funny.
Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go.
Yeah, what he said. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. What is it, man? He got that shit down. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified.
Live and make a video. Make sure
when I'm live and when I make a video. Yeah, do that shit. Maybe that's why he's got freaking over 1 million and I'm freaking down here in the freaking gutter with 100 grand scraping the crumbs of Tate.
Still subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. Dude,
I'm telling you guys something. If me and him were on a stage live, it would be funny because we would be talking smack and smack down. And it would be personal. I mean, today everything is personal. It's like, whatever. It didn't used to be that way, but I think he's kind of funny. But man, I don't know where he's standing here. Hang on, I gotta look like him. I have my hat. He's got his hat on backwards. I gotta get some creds. How's that work? I'll just throw a hat on. How about that? All right, here we go.
Chief Arredondo has spoken. It is the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District chief that everybody decided to throw under the bus.
I did throw on the bus. I'm still throwing on the bus. I think he's bullshit. This whole article he's referring to, I talked about, was absolute crap. He's blowing his own horn. He was a hero. He went in there without a vest, blah, blah. No freaking tactical dude throws away 2 radios before he goes in a thing because he's so tactically sound and he's so thinking ahead that I'm going to throw my radios away in case I get in a big shooting and I need both hands. It's just, what, you can't drop a radio? You can't, oh shit, there goes my alarm. I got to turn off my water. Hang on.
Now.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I got my timer set because I'm watering my trees. So I have to move the water. All right, anyway. So, back to Tatum and how we disagree. The big thing that I disagree so far, and I only watched, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes of this. The big thing that I disagree with him so far, his trust in government. He believes 100% what the chief said. No question about it, the chief's telling the truth. And he even says in there, I think, unless I have contradicting evidence, I believe him. That's not my default. I've said that from the start. My default is government's always withholding evidence, lying, and misrepresenting to make themselves look good until I can prove different. Until they prove to me they're not doing that, that's what they're doing. So when you approach an item from 2 different areas, you're going to get a different result. And that's where I think we're at here. He is absolutely, and he's the type that says, prove it, prove it, prove it. Yeah, BLM had peaceful protests. will prove that they weren't peaceful. You got video, you got everything. A person that believes it will be like, well, you don't know they're BLM. That could have been infiltrators. That could have been Antifa. It wasn't them. It was. So there's always the argument when you get into this proof, whereas while you get in court, hearsay isn't allowed. You need the witness there. You got to be able to cross-examine both sides, get a bite at the apple. Court's a better way to get to the truth, even though it's being manipulated by the damn lawyers. But I digress. Let's see what Tate's lying about.
Everybody that said, Brandon, you a liar. Brandon, you wrong on this. They were cowards. I can't believe you still talking about this. I can't believe you defending these cowards. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm unfollowing you. Just go down in the description section and just write that apology.
I ain't writing no apology, Tate. I still believe that. Just like he still believes what he ain't. I ain't asking him for an apology. But, I mean, I would in jest, like, come on, Tate, admit you're wrong. You know you're wrong. Now he can't admit it. He's got to stick to his gun. He picked a side and he can't. I mean, see, I don't have this team loyalty shit. I don't have if I'm on a team and I find out that the team is disloyal and there's pieces of shit on there and there's people hiding evidence or doing, I don't want to be on that team and I don't want to be part of the team. My identity is not so much that I have to be part of the team no matter how wrong or how things are. Now, everybody has always told me that Tatum never goes against cops. He says he does. It's not about going against them or protecting them. It's about being on the side of right and reasonableness. Is what a cop did reasonable? And what this cop did, this chief that he's defending, and he's believing that he was a superhero and he wasn't going to leave and he was going to rush into danger and then he threw away his radios before he went in there, that just doesn't pass the smell test to me. He even says, I would have never done that. So he wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. I don't know any cop that wouldn't have done it. All the experts they interviewed said they never heard of anything so stupid, but yet Tatum still believes this guy. I mean, it's, in the horse world, I always say, there are none so blind as those that refuse to see. And if you don't want to see the truth and you want to believe what you want to believe, you're going to believe it. And it's going to be true to you.
I don't need it. You're doing it for yourself. Now, Arredondo spoke out. Could he be lying? Could he be telling the truth? I believe that everybody's acting in good faith.
See, he comes on. He believes in good faith. Everybody's telling the truth. I wonder if he believes that when people come out against cops, that they're saying the cop did this to me. I wonder if he believes they're in good faith telling the truth and he believes them. Or is it just that belief when it comes to the code blue? I don't know. Man, this may sound like a hate piece to Tatum, but it really isn't. I'm just trying to understand. I wish he would have come in live. I would love to have a debate with him. But again, I said in my life, the debate I don't think would change much. I would say what I believe and why I believe it. He would say, like he does in his video, why he believes it. And you would have to decide. So if you think Tatum is right, and I guarantee you most cops don't want to tell. Most cops don't have a lot of people taking their side. So when they find somebody that takes their side, they're not going to want to say he's full of shit on this. They just won't do it. They will defend him because he's always defending them. And you get this team player concept. You get this code blue. And that's freaking fertilizer for tyranny, lying, cops doing bad shit. You can't turn a brother blue in. You got to protect them. We're all great. We're all heroes. It's a freaking job. Anybody can get it. We're not all heroes. There's bad guys in the cop field, and there's cops that do bad shit. So, whatever. If you believe that they're all great, well, whatever.
Unless I have evidence to believe that he is explicitly lying and it contradicts actual facts that I know, I think he's telling the truth.
So, Tate, if a cop rapes a woman, and the woman says he raped her, and he's a cop, and he gives a statement that she's lying, I didn't do it, until you get evidence, you're just going to go. Because Tate's not doing an investigation. I mean, I don't even know if I'm doing an investigation. I'm trying to gather as much information and poke holes and stories and statements and video evidence. And I mean, it's a quasi thing, but neither one of us are interviewing witnesses. We haven't been to the school and taken pictures of the door. I haven't seen one picture of a child that's been decapitated by the mean AR-15. I haven't seen one picture of where the shooter cut off all the arms of the kids and piled them in the corner. I mean, the government's making all these crazy claims with zero evidence. And Tate's position is, I believe him till I have evidence otherwise. Well, when you control the evidence, you're never going to have evidence otherwise, so you're going to always believe government. That's a failure type position to be in my opinion. It doesn't make Tate a bad guy.
This is the longest article I've ever read in my life, and I'm going to link it to you guys so you can see
it was a pretty long article
in this scenario and how that comes together. I know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't talk about this if I didn't know what I was.
He doesn't know any more than I know or anyone else. He may have an inside scoop, and he may have talked to one or two officers that reached out to him because they know that he's going to carry their flag. And they may have sent him something saying, hey, unless he shows me a police report or a statement, an official document, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's repeating what someone else is telling him. He's in good faith believing one of the officers that was there, a friend, a fellow a brother blue, whatever, he's taking their word in good faith. I don't know how well he knows this guy. There's some guys that I worked with that if they told me something, I would probably believe it, even though a lot of things were against it, because I would believe them and I had a close relationship. But there ain't many of those guys. I mean, off the top of my head, I can only think about 2 or 3 guys that I would trust, that I was that close, that I worked with for years, that I've seen in tough situations, and they did the right thing, and I trust and believe them. That list is very, very small and less than one hand. Now, Tate saying he knows what he's talking about, I think that's bullshit. I think that's a little arrogant. He may know police procedure, he may have had training, been to the academy, but he doesn't know any more about what went on there than you, me, or anybody else. He's just got another bit of information that maybe we don't have, and who's ever given it to him doesn't have the balls to come on live and say, hey, this is what happened. I've always said there's not one cop that's willing to show his face and say, this is what happened. And you know what? You know what Tate's going to say? Well, man, it's an ongoing investigation. You know they can't talk about it, and they'll get in trouble, and they'll get disciplined. Yeah, just like following orders not to go save kids. But he believes that he didn't give that order. All right.
Was talking about. Now, first thing is that they were cowards, and they just stood outside the classroom while this guy went across the school for 40 minutes to an hour just slaughtering people.
Actually, it was over an hour, Tate. If you know what you're talking about, they've discovered that since the shooter entered, it was 77 minutes before the cops went in. So that's over an hour.
That did not happen. The cops were just sitting outside the room doing nothing and not trying to do nothing. That didn't happen.
That actually did happen. They didn't do nothing. They didn't do a damn thing. Oh, but Rick, they were trying. They tried to talk to him. I'm sure he's going to say, they tried to talk to him. They tried to get a key. They tried to get radio. They didn't have radio communication. Nobody, out of 19 officers, nobody knew there were kids calling in there saying, help us, so he's still shooting us. Nobody knew how to get in the door. Nobody had a master key. How does a school guy not have a master key to school and only school personnel? And then it takes an hour to track down somebody. I mean, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, what kind of planning? I noticed Tate, maybe he is defending their training. They just went through all this freaking training. I don't know what their training was. To wait in the hallway and try and find a key in chaos. Maybe we should have designated in our planning your responsibility. Maybe the first guy on scene should have said, dude, go find me a key to this door. Get out of here. Go. Maybe somebody should have done that. No, he didn't do that. So he's defending the guy that says, I wasn't in charge. I never gave any orders. I threw my radio away. I wanted to go in. When the Border Patrol got there, they went in and I stayed outside in case the guy ran away. That's the guy Tate's defending. I don't defend that guy. I still think he's a weasel. He may have had good intentions. He may have tried. He may have done some things right. 19 kids and 2 teachers are dead.
Chief Arredondo was telling people to stand down and all this other stuff. That didn't happen.
Again, he does not know that. He doesn't know what happened in there. Why was it that when an officer told him to go get a vest because it's not safe for you to be in there, and I've been told that several times at many raids because I didn't wear a vest a lot of time. I was like, whatever. I'm not jumping out in front of bullets. Guy gets a lucky shot on me, whatever. I'll take my chances. So people say it was stupid and reckless. Whatever. I mean, I didn't get shot. And I wasn't going after freaking parking ticket people. But this guy, he just doesn't make sense. Somebody told him to leave and go get a vest. This is the guy that threw away his radio so he could have both hands. But he doesn't want a vest, so if he gets hot, he can still take out the bad guy. I mean, you could make that argument. I don't care if he wore a vest or not. The fact that somebody told him to go get a vest and he goes, I ain't fucking leaving, tells me he's in charge. That was his 4 stars. Got 5 officers and he's got 4 stars on his shoulder. That tells me a lot about a person that does that. Ego, arrogant, doesn't know shit, insecure, wanting everybody to think he's in charge, but when it really comes down to the butter hitting the bread, he ain't fucking there. But he was there, he wasn't controlling. Either he was incompetent for not taking control, which he says he did. I never gave control. That makes him incompetent. He's a chief. Either appoint somebody or tell him you're in charge. I mean, if somebody showed up with more, if a SWAT dude who knew the area, because we worked in a lot of different areas. Let's say I'm working in Stockton. I don't know the area. I don't know what they've trained, etc. If we're doing a warrant in Stockton, we take a place and we get a guy inside, he's armed, and we've got a perimeter set up, and somebody from Stockton SWAT shows up, obviously I'm not going to say, hey, this is my case, I'm in charge, stand down and do that. I mean, technically we could do that. It would be a jurisdictional issue. Stockton would say, hey, you're in our jurisdiction. I'd say, I don't give a shit if I'm in your jurisdiction or not. I'm a fucking peace officer in the state of California. I got jurisdiction all over the place. Don't pull that jurisdiction shit. So, I mean, you could argue back and forth. There's always those arguments. Most people just kind of like settle to do what's reasonable. But it would be stupid for me in Stockton that I don't really work all the time and I'm just doing a warrant. We get in a pursuit or chase and we end up in Stockton to tell the local cops, no, I ain't leaving. I'm staying right here. If SWAT comes in, a bunch of local guys, they got local radios. They know the area and they come in, I'm going to step back and go for it. You got the lay of the land. You've got more information. You've got a better ability to deal with this than me. I'm going to step back. I'll probably still, but just because of my type A, I'd like to be involved in a chase and I've already got invested. But I mean, there's times that I just went, you know what? I'll just step back on a perimeter. Fuck it. Let them do it. I'll get the guy in custody. I still got my hook, whatever. So
a lone border patrol officer that just ran into the school, defied all orders, passing all the cowardice police officers, went in the door by himself and killed a suspect. That did not happen.
Now, I did hear that a lot, and I got to agree with him. I don't think that happened. We still don't know, though. See, he keeps saying he knows. He doesn't know. I mean, whatever. He only knows what somebody's telling him. I only know what I'm saying right now from what I've read, from what the media puts out, from videos that I put out. That's all I know, and that's all he knows. No, Rick, he knows somebody inside, and they're giving him inside information. All he knows is that person's telling his side of the story. He doesn't know what that tells truth. If that person ain't willing to get on truth or write a statement and say what he's saying, I mean, this may or may not come out in the dust. Who thinks the government, raise your hand, if you think the government is going to do a really good investigation, they're going to answer all our questions, and at the end of this, we're all going to have a clear understanding of what happened. Raise your hand. Tate, put your hand down. Raise your hand if you think the government's going to give us all those answers. Hey, you're fucking crazy. There ain't no damn way. And that's the problem.
Happened. And there's a lot more that people are saying that I would argue did not happen, but we're going to go through some of the new developments. So to respond to the scene, the suspect came through the south door. Him and some officers came through the north door, and some came through the south.
I don't like that he's bigger than me. That's not fair. Hang on. Oh, I can't change my little size. Oh, shit. Did I? Hang on. Forgot to set my timer. Anyway, I can't make my picture bigger now.
Once the suspect had entered the room, there was nobody that made contact with the suspect before. He let off over 100 rounds into 2 classrooms.
See, he's repeating this 100 rounds. We're being told he shot 100 rounds. That's a lot of rounds. That's over 3 magazines. That's 4 30-round magazines. Now, you put me on a range with 4 30-round magazines, and I can probably fire those off in probably, I don't know, I'm going to say a minute, maybe a minute and a half on the long end. I mean, it doesn't take that long. I can dump a 30-round magazine in probably easy under 15 seconds, and then you get reloading. So I'm taking a minute max if you want to fire 100 rounds with magazine changes. But this guy was running, aiming, shooting at people, supposedly killing kids in a hallway. You're not shooting 100 rounds that quick. I mean, unless you're just spraying and playing, shooting walls. How many rounds went through the wall? We keep hearing this 100-round number. I haven't seen one picture of a door, a bullet hole, a window busted out, an injury on an officer where 2 officers supposedly received superficial injuries. I haven't seen one picture, interview, nothing. I didn't even see a picture of an ambulance loading away a kid. But Tate knows what's going on. Tate, sorry, dude, I got to call bullshit.
rooms before officers were ever able to make true contact with him. Chief Arredondo went straight for the door, threw his radio outside of the room, outside of the school, because he didn't want it to get in his way. He couldn't use it in the hallways anyway because it had been a dead radio. Some radios don't work within the hallways, and he believed.
If it was a dead radio and no radios work, why did all the other cops have their radios? Why aren't we hearing any radio traffic? Why aren't we hearing any 911 calls? Maybe Tate's heard all this, and that's why he knows. He's just not sharing it. He's read all the reports. He's got the 911 calls, and he's got the body cam footage. So he knows. He's just not showing it. Maybe that's it. Come on, people.
According to his statement, which to me makes sense.
According to his statement, it doesn't make sense to me. We very much different on this. I'd like to ask him, why does it make sense to you? You said you wouldn't do it, but yet you're saying it makes sense. That doesn't add up.
He believed that he was going to get into a life and death shootout with this guy.
Cops believe that shit when they freaking buy a donut and they get the wrong change. That doesn't matter. I mean, cops always think they're going to get a life and death shootout. They're running around pissing their freaking pants, shooting everything that moves.
He didn't want any distractions. He wanted to be able to shoot this guy unimpeded. Now, what I will say is,
damn, that Chief Arredondo was Superman. Bum, 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 Superman to the rescue. Get rid of my radio. I'm throwing my belt away. I'm surprised he didn't throw his extra magazines because he knew he was such a good shot. And I didn't need those extra magazines. It was just extra weight slow me down. So I threw my magazines thinking tactically ahead, very multiple steps in order to provide the most to get my hands on that guy with a shooting and save. So I threw my magazines away. I threw my radio. I threw my handcuffs away because I wasn't going to handcuff him. All that weight would have slowed me down, and it would have stopped me from leveling down and using both hands and taking out the target, because that's what I thought was going to happen. That just sounds freaking stupid to me. Tate, how can you believe that shit?
Is that personally, I don't know what their radio looked like. I would never drop my radio out.
Thank you. I haven't found one cop yet that says, hey, we taught that, and that's an approved tactic, and over years of study and over thousands of people doing that, we've determined that that's a very good technique. Oh, I get it. Chief Arredondo came up with this brand new technique, and now it's going to catch on like wildfire. Pretty soon, all officers will be throwing their radios before they get in a foot chase. When they get out of the car, they'll throw their radios. Pretty soon, agencies just won't even issue radios because it's slowing their officers down. Don't make no damn sense.
Outside of anywhere. But at the same time, I don't know what his radio was. We had a radio on the side in a clamp holster that the radio wouldn't fall out of, and also we had ear.
I've dropped radios. Big freaking deal. You drop a radio. Big deal. It slaps around on you. Really? You can't shoot somebody because your radio's holding you back? And Tate believes this guy's credible?
Earpieces. So therefore, we wouldn't make noise, and the suspect wouldn't know where we were at because we were communicating.
We had earpieces we could have put in. We didn't have them. I mean, earpieces probably came out, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or 20 years ago. It wasn't that big of a deal. Secret Service, I think, was the first one with earpieces, and then it kind of caught on from there. They were kind of like the leading way on that. They were in a suit. They didn't want to have to be doing a radio, so they have a little hand mic here, and when you talk to your wrist. It doesn't look like you're pulling it. You can communicate. You don't have to take your radio out. You just talk into your wrist. It's a wire that goes in here. And we even had those for the SWAT team. We had the throat mics for the SWAT team, so you could just talk and you could talk to each other and it would pick up. I mean, whatever. Nobody's ever thrown their freaking radio away in the history of law enforcement except this guy, the great hero, Chief Arredondo.
Through earpieces. Obviously, that wasn't the case. I believe that was tactically reasonable.
What? He said he's never done it? He would never do it, I think he said. But he thinks it's tactically reasonable. Tate, that's freaking why? See, that's what's called a critical interview. If I was interviewing Tate and he was giving me a statement, I'd be like, dude, wait a minute. You said you would never do that. You were never trained to do that. And now you're saying you think it's reasonable what he did. If it's reasonable, why haven't you ever done it? Are you saying you're unreasonable? See, that's what you call interviewing and getting a good statement versus allowing someone just to give their opinion. And you can do that to me. I don't care. I question myself sometimes. People crack on me because, like, Rick, who's that little voice that's always asking you questions? I ask questions that I'm like, this sounds reasonable, but there could be this.
In the situation he was in. Now, once he get into the school, He said they were unable to penetrate the door. It is a full steel fireproof door that.
Wait a minute. How can Tate knows what he's talking about? How come he doesn't have a picture of the door, first of all? Second of all, how come the other teacher said he shot, or one of the kids said the shooter shot through the window in the door and shot at the teacher? Is there a window in the door, or there's not a window in the door? If there is, why weren't the cops shooting through the window? If there isn't, why did that one kid say that the teacher was shot through the window in the door? Again, these are inconsistencies, and without pictures and facts and access to the investigation, I'm guessing and he's guessing. But it doesn't make one of our guesses better. To me, what makes our guesses better is an educated guess with facts and kind of finding things that are contradictory and asking the question, why is this contradictory? What could be causing this? Are we being lied to? No, Rick! We're dealing with police, and I've got to believe that everything they say is true until it's proven different. Damn. If any cop that goes through life believing everything someone tells them unless there's proof to prove different isn't going to be a very good investigator or detective. Now, I know Tate was a detective. I'm not cracking on, but I'm just telling you. And there ain't no cop out there that believes everything they're being told until it's proven different. They just don't do it. I'm almost to the point, everything you say is freaking lying until I prove it's truth. Okay? Because that's what happens. Crankers come up, oh man, this ain't my pants, and it's my friend's pants, and that dope in there ain't my dope, man, and that ID, I found that wallet, and it's a woman's ID, and that's my sister's, it was in her car, and they got so many freaking, according to Tate, I gotta believe him until I prove different. So I'll just, okay, it's not your dope, not your pants, not your ID. I get it. All right, have a good day. We'll see you later. What the? Come on, Tate.
That's made for people not to get through it. Unfortunately, their department don't have access to the master key.
Now, he knows this, but he doesn't know why. Show me a policy that says only school can have it. Again, when people are talking, even when I'm talking, I'm telling you where I'm getting my information, and I don't know if it's true. But Tate says he knows what he's talking about. He's got the inside scoop. Then give me some proof. Look, if Tate popped up tomorrow and did a video and said, here's the freaking door. It's metal. There's no window. See, I was right. Okay, great. That would have been nice if you shared that when you made the statement versus having people question you and then you come up with the evidence afterwards that fits and then you go, see, you were wrong. So he went to the story before, the cops weren't cowards. Now he has a statement that supports that he was right. So now he's going to use that statement to support his being right. I call bullshit on that. Sorry, Tate.
The school only have access to the master key, and the officers, including Arredondo, has to ask a staff member.
Why does Tate keep trying to pickpocket through? What are you reaching for, Tate? This guy got a wallet in there? What's going on here? Rick, you can't say that.
Member to get them the key. While they were unable to get in, while the guy was shooting at them, the officers in Arredondo instructed some of the officers that were there at the scene to start evacuating people.
Oh, well, so wait a minute. Did he instruct officers implying that he's in charge? He's giving out orders as if he's in charge. Everyone there knows he's the chief, but he wasn't in charge. He didn't make the decision. You can't have it both ways.
One thing that a lot of people don't know.
Oh, shit, here's some information I didn't know. Here we go. Give it to me, Tate. What do I got?
And they don't care to know that according to Arredondo.
I still don't know. Even though according to Arredondo, I don't care what he's going to say, I still don't know. All that means is he's telling me his perspective, his lies. Like Tate's telling you his perspective, and I'm telling you my perspective. Without facts and evidence to support a search warrant, a statement from an officer, a picture of the window, a picture of the door, a radio communication on what these 19 coward officers were doing in the hallway. According to Tate, they were fucking whipping out fucking plans and making new weapons. And they were busy as shit in there for an hour. I can't even imagine standing for an hour. What the hell I would be doing standing for an hour while kids are trapped in a room and a guy's shooting. I just can't believe it. I would either be running. I carried a hooligan tool, a freaking sledgehammer, a crowbar. I had those, maybe not a crowbar. I think I had a crowbar toward the end. I always had a sledgehammer. And then one of the fire department guys, they got new hooligans tools that with the hook and shit that the firemen use. And he gave me a cheap expandable one. He's like, I don't need it. And he goes, you can have this one. I go, cool. So I keep it in my trunk. So I've got that in my trunk, and that wasn't like my SWAT car with my SWAT gear. That's me as a detective. You know, when I'm working gangs or auto theft, that shit was always in my trunk. Because I know when I run 2 buildings and we chase people, we end up in places that we have to force entry. So I have to be somewhat prepared. How hard was it for Chief Featherless Arredondo to freaking go and say, go find something to breach this door? Go. You, go get me your radio. You, give me your radio so I can communicate. You, he calls on his cell phone. According to his statement, he gets on his cell phone and calls. Why didn't he do that earlier and say, I need a hooligan tool? Give me the fire department. Why didn't he do that? Well, Rick, according to his statement, he wasn't in charge. Oh, my God. Come on, Tate. Let's see what his statement said. Let's see what Tate's ready to risk his life on. Would Tate risk his life for this guy? I don't know. I wouldn't.
They were able to save and rescue 500 students and staff from that.
Oh, my God. He's believing that hero bullshit? They were able to save? So let me get this straight. A guy, Chief Arredondo, superhero Superman, runs into the building to save this guy. He's not in charge because he says he's never gave orders, yet he told somebody to go rescue people, and those people rescued 500 people. Chief Arredondo is a freaking hero. Are you kidding me?
School that day. 500 people were rescued from the school that day. What a lot.
Tate, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but the people that tells me that you are just blindly, you will find a way to justify the cops are right, even when there's no justification. I mean, it's just appearing that way, dude.
A lot of people don't know there was multiple people rescued from in the classroom that day.
Yeah, I saw. They weren't rescued. The kids were climbing out the freaking windows on their own, and the cops were catching them on the outside. I covered that in a video. They weren't rescuing anybody. They were holding parents back from rescuing their own kids. So I call bullshit on all that.
Day where the shooter was at spraying people. Now, Arredondo goes on to say he ended up getting a key, but the keys wouldn't work. They gave him multiple sets of keys.
Maybe he tried the wrong key. Maybe he didn't try them all. Maybe he put them in upside down. Maybe he's a fucking idiot. Why did he get the keys? If he wasn't in charge, which is the premise of this, he didn't give the stand down order. He didn't stop anybody. If he wasn't in charge, why did he get the keys? Why did he get to try the keys? Why didn't one of the other officers get the keys? Why didn't they try the keys? Everything that I'm hearing implies that he was playing in charge, but he was making shit decision or no decision. But Rick, you don't have evidence. According to Tate, we got to believe him. Okay, you believe him. I don't fucking believe him. He's full of shit.
And he tried them on adjacent doors to the room to see which one worked. They never worked. Even at the time that the Vortex team got there, they finally found a key that worked.
Okay, so the Vortex is the Border Patrol, I don't know, security. And I'm still hearing conflicting shit on that. The article said that part of Borak team and other officers from other agencies made entry. That's not what you call a team. When my team showed up, if I ran a SWAT team, and when my guys showed up, we entered, we trained, it was our scene. We didn't micmash and go, hey, man, you want to get in the line here? You know, I call it a Congo line. They call it stacking up. Oh, shit, I got to go move my water. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I had to change my water. Oh, shit. All right, so when we're stacking up, if I'm doing a op and I'm using my SWAT team, when SWAT shows up, it's our scene, it's our team. We don't micmash and let this officer join in and you can make entry. No. We know, we train, we know how to move, we know how to cover. We're comfortable with our team. Tate keeps using this Borak or Borkak or whatever the hell the name is. He keeps using this team as if the SWAT team showed up. The article said members of the Borak team and officers from multiple agencies, which implies not just one officer from one other agency, multiple agencies enter the room. That's not a team. Okay, that may be an entry team for the plan, and when you're scuffing it, it's called an entry team, but that's not a team. A team is somebody that trains together, does entries together, and they work as a team, and they've worked as a team. They've made entries before. They know each other's tactics. They've trained the same way. That's a team. Borak probably has a SWAT team, But all those guys train the same way, do the same way. They know what the other guys are going to do because they all got the same training. When you start mashing people, that's not a team. You can call it an entry team, but I keep hearing this Borak team. They're the guys, they're the SWAT. They went in and got him. That's not what the article said. The article said members of the Borak team and officers from multiple agencies made entry. Now, the Borak team guy who went in first, probably a meat eater, says, I'll be first to the door. Let's fucking go. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying it wasn't a quasi what I would call a team. If I did an entry and I was doing a search warrant and we were going to hit this house and do a warrant, I picked the entry team. So I knew where everybody was at. And usually the guy in charge who those things, usually like number 3. You have a couple guys that come in first clear, and number 3 comes in, you get in so you can control, and you got a couple guys coming in behind you. So, and that can change. I mean, normally the leader is not the first guy in, even though he may want to be. It's just not normally. You don't want to lose your leader on the first guy. First guy takes the most risk. He's more likely to take a bullet magnet because he's getting in there first. He's the first target the guy's going to see. But regardless, this guy came in and shot him. I still don't even know if the guy was already dead before they got. They said they took rounds. I don't even know if that's true. So let me get this straight here. If I'm going to believe that the crack Borak team entered and took rounds and they killed the suspect, here's a guy that shot and killed over 19 kids and 2 teachers, shot at the cops, fired over 100 rounds in 10 seconds, and had this crazy AR gun that was killing everything in sight. They entered. He fired multiple rounds, missed every cop coming through one door, and he missed them all, and the cops were able to shoot him. Doesn't make sense to me. Could it have happened? Yeah, I mean, a lot of things could happen, but it doesn't make sense. Why didn't somebody take a round? Why didn't somebody get hit on that entry team? If the guy was shooting at them, why didn't they get hit? Well, Rick, maybe they threw in a flashbang and it disoriented him, and maybe, yeah, maybe. If fucking a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass when he jumped. But we're not talking about that. I want to know what happened. And evidently, according to Tate, he knows. So you should believe him. I don't believe it. He ain't showed me anything that backs up what he's saying other than the same information I got. And I'm interpreting it a whole lot different than he is.
And that's where they showed up with the shield, breached the door with the key. And my sources wasn't completely accurate about it because he said that it was a Halligan used. Maybe he was confused, and this was somebody that was intimately involved.
So now it's not one of the entry teams. It's not one of the guys on scene. It was somebody that was intimately involved. So he's getting info from us. I'm not disputing that, but I think he's given it a whole lot more credibility than it deserves. If he can't say who it is, and now he's saying his source was wrong, then how do we know anything the source says was right? Well, Rick, people make mistakes, and you have to believe them till you have proof. Bullshit.
Maybe he was confused because they brought the Halligan up, and maybe he didn't see exactly whether they used the key or they used the Halligan at the door.
So evidently, I don't know if this is true, but from what he just said, I'm assuming that somebody or him said that they used a hooligan tool to get in. I don't know if that's true. Now he's saying they used the key, that the reports are coming out. Again, that's what happens when you get conflicting information. That's what happens when people are lying. That's what happens when people are trying to make themselves look more important. That's what happens when Chief Featherless here releases a statement through his lawyer saying what he did. Okay.
So I'll correct that on behalf of what I was told by somebody that was...
Correct it? No, hell no. You can just come down in my comments right here and apologize that you were wrong. You don't need to apologize to me. You can just apologize for yourself. I'm just cracking up.
Intimately involved in this situation. And so they use the key, they go in and they kill the guy. Now, according to Chief...
They go in and kill him. That's pretty short. How many rounds they fire? How many cops fired rounds? 4 cops? 3 cops? Do we know any of that? Do we know how many rounds fired? How many rounds they take? Where do the rounds hit? How did a guy that was killing people left and right with these expert marksmen decapitating kids with his gun, how did he miss a bunch of cops going in the freaking door? When you go through a door, it is the most dangerous thing when you're making entry because it's straight. I didn't hear anything about a distractor. If we made an entry on a hot entry and we thought weapons, we always had somebody at the back door busting out a window with a baseball bat, throwing a chair through the glass door. We always made them think we were entering somewhere else to distract them for a second so we could get out of that fatal funnel and get through that door. I didn't hear shit about a distraction. I still haven't heard shit about a window. Not a window in the door and not a window in the back room. Why didn't we go through there? Why didn't we have a sniper? Why didn't we have somebody giving us intel? Why didn't they lay down suppressive fire in there? Why didn't they shoot through the window in order to stop him from killing kids? No, Rick. According to Tatum, they were very busy in the hallway. Very, very busy doing a lot of things. What the fuck were they doing? They weren't helping the kids. They're all dead.
Ferradondo, he never gave anybody instructions because he didn't have a radio, which makes sense.
It makes sense that he's a dumbass. It doesn't make sense that he could communicate. When he wanted to call the 911, he got on his cell phone and called, according to the article. So he did have communications. He had 19 other cops there. I don't even have to be in charge to borrow a cop's radio. Dude, man, let me see your radio. He'd probably say, why the fuck do I want to give you my radio? What do you need? I'll put it out. That's probably what a cop would do if I tried to take his radio on scene. But he didn't ask a cop for his radio. He had plenty of communication. He had 19 guys. What, if cops never heard of a runner, you send some dude out to get info, to get medical kit, to get a breaching tool, to get the keys? Who was assigned to go get the key and find somebody? Nobody, because he wasn't in charge. It's not his fault. If he's not in charge, it's not his fault. Yet he got the keys and he tried every key. Doesn't make sense.
We're going to talk about the incident command situation here in a second. He didn't get anybody instructions. He didn't have a radio. It was not relayed to him, even though he had a phone call with dispatch. It wasn't relayed to him that kids were calling in into the school, in from that classroom.
So, man, I'll tell you, Tate just believes that everything, all the stars aligned for this chief, and this chief and government did a freaking perfect job. And, man, whatever they say is true. So he calls communications, and somehow they don't tell him, hey, there's kids in there. Why aren't you going in? Why is he calling communication if he's not in charge? Why is he giving orders? Why isn't he deferring to the guy that is in charge? You notice he didn't say who I thought was in charge. You notice he didn't say, I wasn't giving orders. Actually, the person that was in charge of that scene was so-and-so. Did you notice that was suspiciously missing from his statement that him and his lawyer prepared? Tate, did you ever ask that question? If he wasn't in charge, who was? Who was the crack cop there that made some decisions? Anybody?
Now, seems highly unlikely to me that the dispatcher wouldn't tell him and that he wasn't aware. But that's what he said.
Okay, I give him credit there. He says it seems highly unlikely. Basically, he says, he's not going to say it like I say it. That sounds like bullshit that don't pass a smell test, and I don't believe it. He's handling the cops with kid gloves. Whatever. He can do what he wants, man. He's a grown man. He's his trainer. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying what I'm seeing.
We shall find out in the investigation.
Yeah, you think we'll find out, Tate? I'll make you a bet now. We don't find out. I'll bet you right now, Tate, $500 that freaking we don't get all the answers that I've been asking or that you've been asking or things that you said. $500. We don't see pictures of kids decapitated. We don't see pictures of the door. We don't see crime scene pictures. We don't see all the search warrants. We don't get to see the body cam footage. We don't get to hear the 911 calls and all that went in, and we don't get to hear the radio traffic. I'll bet you $500 right now, Tate, that we ain't getting all that shit. But Tate just said we'll find out in investigation. I call bullshit. But again, we're approaching this. He's approaching it from he believes government, and trust all cops. I'm approaching it from I don't trust government. I don't trust all cops. And I know that they're going to hide shit, and they're hiding shit now. Because government doesn't like to admit when they fuck up.
The other aspect of incident command. He's been criticized because people presume that he had incident command. Let me explain incident command structure real quick.
Oh, I want to hear this because this is going to be good. Because normally when a 4-star chief of the school district and there's an incident at the school and he's on scene, he is the incident commander, okay? It's kind of like a fire chief showing up to fire and going, hey, there were a lot of fire trucks there. I know I'm a chief, but there were a lot of fire trucks there. I never gave any orders. I didn't tell anybody to die. I threw my radio out in case I had to use both hands for the fire hose. I mean, when was the last time you heard some crazy-ass story like that from the big red truck people?
According to NIMS, that you are supposed to, when the first person on the scene, or it wouldn't be the first person on the scene. Normally, the first supervisor or commander on the scene. Let me rephrase it like this.
Yeah, please, because you just confused the fuck out of me, Tate.
If you show up to the scene and there's multiple people there, somebody has to take incident command. If you show up to a scene and you're the only one there, you are presumed incident command until you leverage it to somebody else.
Okay, I don't know if I agree with that explanation completely. I think it's kind of right. If I'm the first person on scene, obviously I'm in charge because I got the most information. I make decisions based on what I know because I'm there. So can you say I'm the incident commander? Yeah. If a sergeant or a corporal or someone else shows up and he's got sergeant stripes, he tells me to do something, I'm not an incident commander. He start making the decisions. I can't question him. Now, good supervisors will tell you if they have trust and confidence in you, you're dealing with it, deal with it, I'm here. And unless they disagree with you, they'll just let you run the show. That happens a lot. So just because somebody's the highest ranking doesn't mean they're telling everybody what to do. I'll give him that. But when a chief shows up on scene and he's getting the keys and he's calling dispatch on his phone, it's presumed he's in charge. I guarantee you people were deferring to him. Hey, you're the school police. How do we get in this door? I don't know. We don't have a key, and I don't have a radio because I threw it out. And let me find out. Let me call and try and get a key. So I guarantee you people ask him questions, and he didn't have a fucking answer. And that's what incompetent people do. When you hire people, not for jobs, not for experience, not because they're competent, you hire them because of what bathroom they use, what color they are, whatever they're using now to hire people in order to be PC versus standards. Can you do the job? This is what happens. You promote incompetence, you graduate incompetence to the top. Now you have incompetence leading, and then you have failure all the way down the line, and people are like wondering why. Oh, I know why. It's that mean AR's fault in that big magazine. That's it. That's the problem. Please.
Now, here's the conundrum with incident command. You cannot be involved in a situation if you are going to be the incident commander, which means that if you were involved in the shooting, you have to remove yourself from the shooting. You have to remove yourself from the school.
Well, that's not, you don't do that in the middle of an incident. I mean, if I'm in charge of a scene and I'm the ranking guy there and people are deferring to me and I start giving out orders and people start following it because they either don't have a better idea or there's no one else in charge, and I'm like, hey, you guys go over there, block that door, you guys shut down this hallway. I get on to dispatch and go, yo, man, set me a perimeter. I need the officer here, and here and there. I mean, technically, I'm controlling the scene. Now, maybe there's an OI that says the lieutenant or the captain back in the office during incidents such as this will become the on-scene commander once they establish communications, and there's all this fucking bullshit. But look, you run shit until someone overrides you, which is why I say all the other cops are cowards. Because if nobody gave them a stand-down order, I can't believe somebody didn't freaking bust out a window, drive a truck through the door, freaking go. I mean, an hour and 17 minutes to be exact. People stood outside and didn't do shit. I mean, you have got an ongoing crisis happening. You need to act. It's kind of like a fire department showing up and saying, man, the building on fire and there's a bunch of freaking kids in there. You know what? We don't have a key. And, shit, I don't know what we're going to do. It's not like we're cowards, but, anybody want to run in there? No? We can't get in, Sarge. The door's shut. Fires are burning. It's too hot. It's dangerous. Fireman safety. We can't go in. Freaking stupidest shit I ever heard. Cowards! I said it. Sorry, Tate. Not sorry.
You have to get yourself away from the action for the most part so you can begin to delegate people as they show up to the scene and communicate what we have.
This sounds like bullshit to cover this guy's ass. Forward. This guy didn't do that. So, I don't know if he's trying to say because he was involved, he wasn't the commander. That's bullshit. Because there's always an on-scene command guy who's ever running the shit on scene, and there may be command staff driver that's relaying, but that's normally in a stabilized situation to where we're making tactical decisions to minimize injuries, etc. If there was a perimeter set up, if there was a bomb threat, if there was a hostage taking, you might have an incident command saying, hey, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and he's referring information. That wasn't this case. This is an ongoing shooting where kids are getting killed for an hour and 17 minutes. And these guys sat outside with their thumb up their ass, throwing their radios away, calling dispatch, claiming, I didn't know, I wasn't in charge, I tried a bunch of keys. As soon as we got the keys, we went in and we're heroes. And we saved a bunch of kids in the meantime. Well, either you went and evacuated kids or you waited in the hallway. Everything I'm hearing, there was 19 guys, a minimum of 19 guys in the hallway the entire time. They never said at one point there was 19 and then a lot of people left to go evacuate, which they shouldn't have done. Any meat eater that would have been there, I ain't evacuating shit if I got a guy in that room. I'm locking him down and trying to get in that room. I'm not leaving that. So anybody that left, I don't know, maybe I might say I'm leaving if it's totally fucked up. Not with kids in there. I just wouldn't leave. I just know I wouldn't. I would have been the typical Rick's being a cowboy. Rick's going in, guns blazing. He's going to get somebody hurt. He's knocking out freaking windows. He's climbing through the door. He's going out and getting a truck and he's trying to ram it in the freaking wall. He's being crazy. Somebody stop Gore. He's out of control. That's what would have been said. It's been said before. I don't give a shit. Especially with kids in there dying. I mean, you couldn't have. I'd have been like that mom who said, "Get the fuck out of here. I'm going in. Move. You don't want to do anything? Move. I'm shooting the fucking locks off. I'm shooting the hinges off. I'm going through that freaking window. I'm shooting through the window if there was a window." I mean, there's a lot of things that they could have been doing. And according to Tate, they were really busy, but they weren't doing any of those things to get in the room. Basically, they tried to get in the room and they stopped. Basically, they received rounds and they retreated, according to the reports. They ran and hid when they received rounds.
Arredondo, in his situation, and I say some of it could be a lack of tactical experience. He didn't know who had incident control because he was actively involved in the shooting. He was actively involved.
How can you be on scene and not know who's in charge? Nobody asked. Nobody said who's running this shit show. Hey, what are we doing? Nobody took the initiative to say, if nobody's telling me what to do, then I'm fucking acting. Out of 19 heroes, not one of them could go, if nobody's in fucking charge, somebody better tell me not to do something because I'm fucking doing something. I would venture to say he exerted authority and command and control over that scene at some point doing this. He gave instructions that implied he was the on-scene commander. But to be honest, I don't give a shit. If I got an on-scene commander doing stupid-ass shit, getting people killed, I'm acting. Okay? I told about that one story. We jumped out of the van. We're doing raids on felony guys who wanted weapons charges, whatever. And we're fucking jumping out of the van. The van pulls up. We do our ops. We're all sitting in the back of the van. It stops. We jump out and we jump the fence and just bomb rush the house before he can get to his weapons and try to arrest his ass. Well, as soon as we get out, 3 of us jump the fence and the rest of the team stops. Fucking pussies. Because they saw 2 pit bulls. And they stopped. And me and my 2 guys are freaking heading to the house like the plan said. And the dog ended up biting my partner and he's fighting him off and I end up shooting and killing the dog. Then the other dog attacked me and I end up shooting that dog. And then we ran and we got the guy. And later it was like, hey man, Gore was out of control. He was spraying and praying and shooting everything in sight, man. I don't know how many rounds he fired. He shot the whole neighborhood. I fired, I think, 5 rounds, 2 in one dog and 3 in the other. I knew exactly how many rounds. All my rounds hit. The dogs were dead. Well, one of them ran off bleeding. But I got him off my partner and we went and made the arrest. And the pussies that stayed outside, I called them pussies. They were freaking pussies. Hey, we saw the dog. We weren't going in. Shit, I didn't want to get bit. It's like, you fucking pussies. So you let 3 of us go in and we're fucking running thinking we got a team behind us and we turn the fuck around and they're behind the gate. Okay? That's bullshit. I don't want to hear about, the cops couldn't do nothing. Oh, we stopped at the gate because it wasn't tactically sound. Officer safety, we had to wait because we saw dogs. Fuck that. That wasn't a fucking plan, you pussies. But whatever.
Involved in trying to get the shooter, actively involved in trying to breach and get entry into the door. Naysayers would say he should have backed out of the situation. But, man, when it's your school and it's your people and you assuming that all of these major large agencies come into your little town and when you only manage 6 people on a police department, that somebody will take incident command knowing that there's no control.
Man, Tate, you are fucking just seriously, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you are so sucking this guy's dick that he is a fucking hero and he did everything perfect and he is a wonderful, great, standard dude. I mean, I'm not saying that what Tate's saying may or may not have happened, but to just assume that this guy has got all these problems of who's in charge in these big agencies, and I threw my radio away and the keys didn't fit, and I had all this going on. There's fucking kids being killed, Tate. I don't give a fuck about who's in charge and who the big agencies are and whether or not I have a fucking radio. I'm going in to get the kids and I ain't stopping until I get the fuck in. And I'm not waiting for a fucking key. I mean, ain't that damn hard? You know, people tell me that I can't listen to Tate because he just fucking pisses me off. I'm almost there. I've been going for 55 minutes. So look, if you want to go watch his video, it's on, what is it? Officer Tatum speaks out. Y'all are all quiet. People are quiet. So he's implying that the people that called these guys cowards are somehow quiet now, and now he proved them wrong. He didn't prove shit. Sorry, Tate. Didn't prove shit. You didn't come on live, and I'm calling bullshit on about 90% of how you're backing this guy up. I'm not saying it couldn't be true. Anything could be true. This guy could have a big ass on his chest. He could be the best guy in the world. He could have saved 1 million children. And freaking when he visited Mexico or Africa or some other country, he's a great guy. He gives to charity. I don't give a shit all about that. I care about behavior on a scene where kids are getting killed and you leave a shooter in there for 77 minutes while you're in a hallway supposedly worrying about who's in charge, and there's a lot of big aid. I mean, Tate's just jumping to all these conclusions. He's giving this guy a bunch of defense. So now when this guy goes to court or makes his news statement, he'll be saying what Tate said. Well, I was really worried about, so many agencies, and I thought someone else would take command, and that's why I didn't. Well, that just makes you a fucking pussy. That means you shouldn't have been chief in the first place. If you show up and you fucking take the chief position, then you ought to be able to fucking say I'm in charge when I'm on a scene. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't take the money and you shouldn't take the chief position. No, Rick, he's a really great guy and he did everything perfect. Bullshit. All right, I'm done. I mean, I can watch this whole thing. I don't know how many minutes I'm on here. I'm at 8 minutes and he goes on for 23. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to watch the rest because it doesn't matter. He hasn't pulled out one picture or anything to change my mind. He's given his opinion, and he's given his opinion based on the same shit that I got. Maybe he's talking to somebody that was there, which may or may not be bullshit. I'm going to say it's bullshit because those people there are getting a lot of heat and they're trying to put out information to save face. And there's not really a whole bunch of face you can save when you let 19 kids die and 2 teachers while you're out in the hallway for 77 fucking minutes. Period. No ifs, ands, buts, coconuts. That's my take. You can hate on me. You can hate on me in the comments. You can tell me that Tate's better than me and he's smarter and I don't know. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. My opinion. Y'all have a good day.